Have you ever felt like you're standing on the edge of a cliff, but everyone around you is just enjoying the view? That's what our global economy feels like right now. It's a terrifying thought, one that most people, and certainly our leaders, don't want to talk about. But the signs are flashing bright red, and the echoes of history's worst economic collapse are getting louder and louder. Let's talk about the 1920s. It was the Roaring '20s, an age of incredible optimism. People thought the party would never stop. The stock market was soaring, credit was easy to get, and everyone was living large. Does that sound familiar? Because that's exactly what the last decade has felt like. Years of growth, near-zero interest rates, and a stock market that just kept climbing, convincing us that the good times were here to stay. We're splurging, borrowing, and investing, sometimes with a dangerous level of confidence, believing this economic roller coaster only goes up. But beneath this shiny surface, something feels deeply wrong. The Great Depression of 1929 didn't just appear overnight. It was a disaster that had been brewing for decades. A slow-motion pileup of excessive speculation, inflated markets, and a collective, misplaced faith that things could only get better. Today, the parallels are chillingly similar. Let's start with debt. It's not just a number, it's a mountain. Global debt has ballooned to over $300 trillion. And it's not just governments, it's us. We're drowning in personal loans, student debt, and mortgages. This debt fuels our spending, creating a fragile illusion of prosperity. But what happens when the music stops? What happens when people can no longer make their monthly payments, when the debt we've accumulated grows faster than our entire economy? It's a house of cards waiting for a gust of wind. Then there's the stock market, which seems to defy gravity, constantly hitting new all-time highs. People are pouring their life savings into assets that are artificially inflated, just like in 1929. Many are investing based on hype and hope, not solid fundamentals. Think about the tech bubble, the wild swings in the housing market, and the roller coaster of cryptocurrencies. They all share one dangerous trait. They are priced for perfection in an imperfect world. This isn't investing. For many, it's gambling. And when the bubble bursts, and it always does, it won't be the super rich who suffer the most. It'll be ordinary people who were told this was their ticket to a better life. And while all this is happening, the silent thief of inflation is eating away at our savings and our salaries. Prices for everything, from gas to groceries, are rising much faster than most people's paychecks. In fact, for many, wages have barely budged in years. This is the core of the problem. If people can't afford the basic necessities, how long can this consumer-driven economy keep going? The 1929 crash was devastating, but what truly caused the decade-long depression was the collapse in people's ability to buy things. Their purchasing power vanished. Today, millions around the world are already facing this struggle, living paycheck to paycheck, one emergency away from financial ruin. This isn't some distant threat. It's a present-day crisis for a huge portion of the population. But this isn't just one country's problem. Don't make the mistake of thinking this is only about the US. Our global economy is more interconnected than ever before. A slowdown in China's manufacturing sends ripples across the entire world. Europe's struggles with energy costs affect global supply chains. Rising tensions in one part of the world can trigger market panic everywhere else. We are all in the same boat, and there are holes appearing on all sides. Economic instability isn't contained by borders anymore. The cracks in the foundation are already showing. Small banks are showing signs of stress. Major companies are announcing layoffs. The optimism is starting to feel forced, brittle. History teaches us that moments like these don't resolve themselves quietly. The real question isn't if a major correction or crash will happen, but when it will happen. And when it does, the fallout could be more severe than anything we've seen in our lifetimes. The system is more complex, more leveraged, and more fragile than it was in 1929. So, what does this mean for you? It means it's time to wake up and pay attention. Don't get swept away by the headlines telling you everything is fine. Look at your own finances. Start building a safety net. Knowledge is your best defense. Understand the risks, prepare for volatility, and don't bet your future on a market that's showing all the signs of a massive bubble. This isn't about fear-mongering. It's about being a realist. The storm is gathering, and the smart thing to do is not to pretend you don't see the clouds, but to start building your shelter. The Great Depression didn't just break the financial system. It shattered lives, dreams, and families. The suffering was unimaginable. A world plunged into hunger, joblessness, and complete uncertainty. But today, the scars of the past aren't just fading away. They are coming back, and they are warning us. Are we prepared for the human cost of another crash? When the market tumbles and people lose their savings, what happens to the average person? In 1929, a staggering 25% of the American workforce lost their jobs, while millions more saw their wages slashed. Entire families were forced into homelessness, and Hoovervilles, makeshift slums, sprouted up across the country. It wasn't just about financial ruin, it was the psychological toll. When a generation experiences a collapse of this magnitude, it doesn't just affect the economy, it reshapes society itself. Trust in the system erodes, family structures weaken, desperation breeds fear, and fear breeds division. People stop believing in the American dream, or any dream for that matter. The question is, are we seeing the same breakdown today? We've already witnessed a massive wealth gap. The rich are getting richer, while the working class is barely surviving. The middle class, once the bedrock of society, is disappearing. Younger generations are feeling the crushing weight of unrealistic student debt, low-paying jobs, and a shrinking horizon of opportunities. For many, the idea of working hard for a better future is becoming a cruel illusion. And with the rise of automation and AI, the pressure is only going to intensify. But the real problem is that many people today don't realize how fragile their world is. We've been living in a bubble of overconfidence. The crash of 2008 should have been a massive wake-up call, but for most of us, the chaos of that time has already faded from memory. The very same banks that were bailed out have grown larger and riskier than ever before, and now, those risks are multiplying, much like they did in the years leading up to the crash of 1929. Today, interest rates are rising, and yet markets are acting as if the party will never end. We are witnessing record levels of debt-based consumption, and the value of assets, from homes to stocks, is dangerously inflated. So, what happens when the music finally stops? History tells us it's not just the markets that will crash, it's our entire sense of security. The Great Depression taught us one critical lesson. When the system fails, it's the people who suffer the most. The banks, the corporations, the ultra-rich, they will survive. It's the workers, the middle class, and the vulnerable who are left to pick up the pieces. So, if we are heading toward another economic disaster, are we ready for the cost? Can our society handle it? We might not be able to prevent the crash, but we can decide how we react to it. The Great Depression didn't just bring people to their knees, it transformed them. It brought communities together, sparked incredible resilience, and fundamentally changed the way the world viewed social safety nets, government intervention, and the economy itself. What lessons have we truly learned from that time? And more importantly, are we applying them now? As the signs of another great economic upheaval mount, the real question remains: will we be doomed to repeat history, or will we finally listen to the lessons of the past? This is Blood and Fortune, where history doesn't just repeat itself, it warns us. If this story hit home, hit that subscribe button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and spread the word before history takes its next turn.